Today we will look into the Preamble of Indian Constitution. Preamble tells us about the principles, philosophy and ideals on which the Indian Constitution is based. It reflects the dreams and aspiration of the people of India. In a democratic country like India, in this democratic setup, what kind of the country we actually wants to make, it is very much clear from the Preamble of Indian Constitution. First of all, we will talk about the drafting of Preamble. Drafting of Preamble after the completion of entire Constitution, 26 November 1949, this was tabled to pass in Constituent Assembly, and it came into force in 26 January 1950 with entire Constitution. Then we will check into the entire text, a complete text of the Preamble. Here, we the people of India. Very first line is beginning with "We the people of India." It tells us about the very soul of the Preamble or Constitution of India, that people of India are the sovereign or the ultimate authority, and we want to make India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. We will check how it actually going to make India with such traits, and we wants to secure all its citizens justice. Which kind of justice? Social, economic and political justice. Liberty, liberty of thoughts, expression and belief, faith and worship. Equality of status as well as opportunity. And fraternity, assuring dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. And in our Constituent Assembly, the 26th day of November 1949, this days tell us about when we actually accept or when we actually enact this Constitution as well as this Preamble. Hereby adopt, enact and give it to ourselves the Constitution. We can look into the language of this Preamble, that here the people of the India are the sovereign or the ultimate authority, and here we can also check that this language of the Preamble was as it is from the very beginning, except these three words, that are socialist, secular as well as integrity. These are added in the Preamble later on when 42nd constitutional amendment took place, and Preamble is amended only once. We will check it later, and we will now look into the different keywords that are written over there in the Preamble. First of all, sovereign. Sovereign means full freedom of internal and external affairs. It means that India is completely sovereign, और we can say संप्रभु है इंडिया पूरी तरह से. हम किसी पर भी डिपेंडेंट नहीं है. बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस ब्रिटिशर वर हेयर एंड दे वर सपोज टू रूल अस, बट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस व्हेन वी enact our constitution, we are completly sovereign. हम अपने डिसीजंस में पूरी तरह से संप्रभु हैं. हम स्वयं अपने डिसीजन ले सकते हैं. किसी के दबाव में या किसी के इन्फ्लुएंस में हम अपने डिसीजन नहीं लेंगे. नेक्स्ट है सोशलिस्ट. ये वर्ड बाद में ऐड किया गया, बट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में सोशलिस्ट जो ट्रेड्स हैं वो पहले से ही मौजूद थे. सोशलिस्ट का मतलब है एक तरह से समाजवाद, और इसमें सोशल एंड इकोनॉमिक इक्वलिटी की बात की गई है. ये 42nd अमेंडमेंट से ये वर्ड ऐड किया गया था, बट हम अगर अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को देखें तो वो पहले से ही सोशलिस्ट नेचर का था. सेक्युलर, सेक्युलर वर्ड भी बाद में ऐड किया गया है, बट आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वॉज सेक्युलर फ्रॉम वेरी बिगनिंग. देन वी विल सी डेमोक्रेटिक, और पॉलिटी विल बी डेमोक्रेटिक. पॉलिटी विल बी डेमोक्रेटिक मीन्स लोकतांत्रिक शासन होगा हमारे देश में. एंड रिपब्लिक, रिपब्लिक इज अबाउट हेड ऑफ द स्टेट, दैट एनीवन इन द कंट्री कैन बिकेम हेड ऑफ द स्टेट. And another thing is that head of the state will be elected, unlike Britain where head of the state is hereditary. So we will check into objectives of the constitution as per Preamble. Preamble tells us about what we actually wants to achieve through our constitution. So here justice, social, economic and political. मतलब हम न्याय चाहते हैं किस तरह का? सोशल, सामाजिक, आर्थिक एज वेल एज पॉलिटिकल. एंड लिबर्टी, लिबर्टी ऑफ थॉट्स, एक्सप्रेशन, बिलीफ, फेथ एंड वर्शिप. मतलब आज़ादी होगी इंडिया के लोगों को किस चीज़ की? थॉट्स की, एक्सप्रेशन की, बिलीव्स की. दिस इज एंश्योर्ड देयर इन आर्टिकल 19 ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट, पार्ट 3 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. एंड इक्वलिटी ऑफ स्टेटस एज वेल एज अपॉर्चुनिटी. दिस इज ऑल्सो एंश्योर्ड थ्रू फंडामेंटल राइट, आर्टिकल 14, 15, 16. And this is also ensured through the different DPSPs. And fraternity, dignity of the individual, unity and integrity of the nation. This is also ensured through DPSP and different articles of the constitution. Now we will check into the amendments to the preamble. As we already talked about that only once only the amendment in the constitution is being done, and that was in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 during Indira Gandhi government, and this amendment added three words in the preamble: socialist, secular, and integrity word were added. Next, judicial interpretation. In different cases, Supreme Court tells us about the preamble, its importance. First of all, we will see Berubani Union case in 1960. Here, Supreme Court tells that preamble is not part of the Constitution. But later, it changed its verdict in Keshwananda Bharti case, and it reaffirmed. It said that preamble is part of the Constitution and can be used to interpret ambiguous areas. It means that it is keys to the different articles, that if we are in some ambiguous situation, that articles about the interpretation of the articles, then we can look into the preamble for clarity. And then we will see LIC of India versus Consumer Education and Research Center. This was also one of the case where Supreme Court again tells us about that preamble is very much part of the constitution and it is soul of the constitution. And again, with this Keshavananda Bharti case, after this this was cleared about by the constitution of by the Supreme Court of India, that this preamble is part of the constitution of India. Next, statement by scholars. Different political scholars tells us about the preamble, that according to B.R. Ambedkar, that is the preamble is the soul of the constitution. This we have to remember as it is. And this next, Sir Aladi Krishna Swami Iyer, and this is that preamble embodies the ideas and aspiration of the people of India. K.M. Munshi, one of the member of Constituent Assembly, called the preamble the horoscope of our sovereign democratic republic. Again, Supreme Court statements. Supreme Court in one of its case said that preamble is the key to open the mind of the makers of the constitution. Exact statement was that preamble is the key to the minds of the framers of the constitution. ये बताता है कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाने वाले थे, कॉन्स्टिट्यूंट असेंबली के लोग थे, वो प्रियम्बल उनके एक तरह से प्रियम्बल में जो चीज़ें लिखी गई है उसके बेसिस पे उन्होंने जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बनाया है. वो उनके बेसिक आइडियाज़ थे, बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स थे, जिसके बेसिस पर उन्होंने पूरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया है. अगेन एस आर बोमई केस. एस आर बोमई वर कर्नाटका CM, एंड एस आर बोमई केस was about 356 that president rule. In this case, Supreme Court again said that secularism is part of the basic structure of the constitution as evident from the preamble, because this word was written in there in preamble, not in constitution. So there was a debate about the secularism is either other basic structure or not, and there was debate about either preamble is part of the constitution or not. Then here also again Supreme Court tells us about that preamble is very much part of the constitution, and secularism is also the basic structure of the constitution. What is the importance of the preamble? Again, we can see that it tells us a basic structure of doctrine. That means the ideas which are written in the preamble are basic to the constitution, that are basic structure of the constitution, that lawmaker can in future change the constitution as per requirement, but they can't change the basic structure that can be reflected through the preamble of Indian constitution. Next, serve as guide to the understanding the interpreting the constitution in various area where we are confused about interpreting the different articles, their meaning, their interpretation. Then with the help of preamble we can look into the minds of the framer of constitution, what they actually wants to make or what they actually means. It declared India as sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, as very much written in the constitution or very much written in the preamble outrightly, that India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Okay, unique features. What are the unique features of preamble? It is very much concise, short statement, but it tells us about completely about the nature of the polity, nature of the society, and aspiration of the Indian people in totality. Declaration of commitment of democracy, rule of law, secularism, and justice. Preamble tells us about all this, that India will be ruled by the rule of law. That means no one will be sovereign. Final authority will be with the law. And what is law? A law is that is made by the lawmaker. And who are the lawmaker? Lawmaker are the one that will be chosen by the people of India. And the preamble in very start writes about we the people of India. That means ultimate authority lies with the people of India, or we can say people of India are the sovereign or ultimate authority. What is the conclusion? Conclusion is again same, that it tells us about the very nature of Indian polity, or the kind of the nation we want to build, or kind of the nation our constituent makers want to build. And values underpin the governance of India. It tells us about the governance of India, which kind of governance will be there in India, what constitution makers और जो भी हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बनाने वाले तो इंडिया को किस तरह के देश के रूप में देखना चाहते हैं उसके बारे में बताता है। और डिफरेंट जो हमारे पास आर्टिकल्स है उनकी इंटरप्रिटेशन के लिए, ठीक है, और क्या एक्चुअल में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर चाहते थे, उनके ड्रीम्स एस्पिरेशन क्या थे, उन की इंटरप्रिटेशन के लिए हम प्रियम्बल का सहारा ले सकते हैं। अगेन व्हेन देयर विल बी सम अमेंडमेंट और देयर विल बी सम रूलिंग फ्रॉम द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, if there is confusion about interpretation of some articles or some statement of constitution makers that either this true or that true, then we can look into the preamble and we can clarify the things from